YouTube. It's Wednesday evening, about 7:20. I just climbed down off of a metal roof building. It's a car dealer, and I have been replacing a 5-ton compressor in a green air conditioning unit. That was going to be all I did today, but this morning I had a kind of an emergency call to a daycare that I take care of. They took over a couple of additional suites in this building, and it had the other part has package units. Actually, I did a TXV to piston change out in one of those, but on the other end of the building they have a couple of furnaces and coils up in the above the drop ceiling, and they had water coming through. So what it was, of course, was a clogged drain, and the drain was actually clogged outside where it came out into the dirt, but someone had put it together or cut it apart and put it back together right past the trap and had not glued the coupling they put back on, so the water just came out. So I got that back together, and then she wanted a thermostat, so I had to run to the supply house, which was only a mile or so away, pick up a programmable thermostat and put it on. Then I was starting to go to my compressor job, and I got a call from a little lady that I put a unit in for her upstairs last year, and she has a Goodman downstairs. I think it was an 09 model, and last year it was low on gas, and I had some leaky service valves. I put some nylog on them and did what I could, but it was low again this year, so I guess in heat that vapor valve just couldn't hold it in. So I cut those off this morning and put in brass ball valves, refrigeration valves like Zach has got videos doing. Got that back together, tested, pulled a vacuum on it, gassed it up, got her cooled down. So it was after lunch. It was actually closer to 3 o'clock when I got over here to my compressor job. So I got some video on it, which I'll put together here. But this is a car dealer, and I think a compressor change out's a pretty good job. You can make some good money on a compressor change out in a short period of time. This is the same person that owns a lot of the rental properties I work on, and he owned the one where it had the 20-some-year-old carrier. It was like an early 90s model carrier that had a bad TXV, indoor TXV, and I cut it out and put a piston in, and the thing's still running. I mean, it wasn't leaking, it wasn't anything other than the TXV that wasn't open. So I've gotten, well, that video's probably got as many views almost as any of my videos, over 10,000. And I've gotten calls and texts and emails from all over the country, people wanting to know where to find the components to make a piston holder, which I've given that. But we had a guy comment on my video over the past week that said I did the customer a disservice by doing that, that they should have spent that $300 they paid me to do that work on getting a new coil for the unit. Well, first off, it's a 25 to 28-year-old air handler. There wasn't even a 410A air handler made then, so where are you going to get a coil to put in a 25-year-old air handler? Of course, we've seen on the internet, and you can put anything you want to in there, but is it right? Secondly, why the hell would you put a coil in a 25-year-old air handler? I mean, the motor's 25 years old. The insulation is 25 years old. The heat kit's 25 years old. Everything about it's 25 years old. That would be, in my mind, that would be a disservice to the customer. What they should have done is put in a whole new system, and of course I gave them that option. But it was just too much money. If you're renting a place for $400 or $500 a month, and you spend $4,000 on a new system, then it takes you a long time to recoup that money before you can start making money again. So if they can spend $300 and get another year or 2 years or whatever, I mean, if he'd got a week, he knew that was a possibility, and he chose to do that. I mean, he sells used cars. If it wasn't for old things, he wouldn't have a job. I mean, some people don't have to have the latest and greatest thing. That's why used car dealers have a business. So, but at any rate, because I did this little $300 job for him, the guy that was commenting on the video, he's something zero. I just remember the zero part about him. But he was basically started out as I was doing a customer disservice, and as we jumped his ass, me and actually some other people chimed in, he changed it to where no, he was just trying to help me out, that I would never be able to grow my business fooling around with stuff like that when I could be out making more money. Well, I mean, if you're going to be in business, you need to be in business. You need to take care of the customer. If I had told this guy to get somebody else, that somebody else would probably be putting that compressor in today. Not to mention all the other jobs I've done for him. So I'm going to fix stuff when they want it fixed. I'm going to replace stuff when I want it replaced. And I'm going to feel good about it. I like fixing things. I mean, putting in new systems is great, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of having everything new and starting it up and it all runs good. But even then, a lot of times you have duct issues and things like that, unless you're starting from scratch, which as a one-man show, that is a very hard thing to do and still take care of your other customers. So, I'm going to keep fixing things. I mean, if you can fix it, it don't take long to fix. It was 3 or 4 sweat joints and 3/8 piping, so it was an easy fix. But you know, take care of your customers, and they'll call you back, and you can build up a business. I mean, I've only been in business a little over a year, and I'm doing great. I wouldn't want any more work right now. In fact, I feel like I've got a little too much, but on these hot days, you just do what you can. Like I said, it's 7:30 now. I've got a pizza place right down from the house. I actually went there last night. They called me about 10 and said that the walk-in cooler wasn't cooling. It was up to about 50 degrees. So I jumped in the van and run down there, and the high pressure had tripped on the roof. The condensers on the roof. And so I reset it, and the one of the 2 condenser fans is worn out and locks down when the power is put on it. So of course, when I started it back up last night, it was cooler and it ran fine. So I picked up a motor. I hope to get there earlier today, but I'm just now getting back close to where we're going. So hopefully it hadn't tripped off yet, and if it has, hopefully the cooler's still cool. I told them to try to keep the door shut, especially after midday, as much as they could. So I'm going to stop and put this little condenser fan on, maybe even eat a little pizza, and you guys can watch this video.